कंपाश्रुतरंगभाजो वंदे गुरो श्रीचरणारविंदम श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाः शृंगारतन्मन्दिरमार्जनादो युक्तस्य भक्तांश नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्रीभगवत्प्रसादः स्वाध्वानतृप्तान् हरिभक्तिसन्धान् कृत्यैव तृप्तिं भजता सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् निकुञ्जयोनो रतिकेलिसिद्धै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रादिदक्ष्यादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् साक्षात् हरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यतेव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभुर्य प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायान्स्तुवांस्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लाददायिने हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः शिलाटङ्कानखालाय यतो नरसिंहः परतो नरसिंहः यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहः महे नरसिंहः हृदये नरसिंहः नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नखमद्भुतशृङ्गाम् दलिता हिरण्यकशिपू तनुभृङ्गाम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय हो नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज वृंदाय दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः वृंदाय दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः वृंदाय दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सतताय नमो नमः। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो एई अभिलाषी जे तुम्हार शरण लय तार वांछा पूर्ण कृपा करी करो धरे वृंदावन वासी मोरा अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो नयने हरि बो सदा युगल रूप राशि निवेदन धर सखीर अनुगत कर सेवाधिकार दीजे करो निज दासी दीन कृष्ण दास काय नमो रहाय श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदये न भासी लसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणं पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणं पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणं पदे पदे। वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यत्राय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यत्राय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यत्राय नमो नमः। ले रहे होंगे हमारे घर देखो। चेक करो। On the walk, Mother, not in office. 10 to 50 chapter. Then in Temple Hall it's going 51st chapter, Mujkund wala, that you read yesterday. Which chapter? 51? Yes. Okay. Sorry? Time is 5:55. Chapter 51 from Krishna book, The Deliverance of Mujkund. When Krishna came out of the city, Kalevan, who had never seen Krishna before, saw him to be extraordinarily beautiful, dressed in yellow garments. Passing through Kalevan's assembly of soldiers, Krishna appeared like the moon in the sky passing through the assembled clouds. Kalevan was fortunate enough to see the lines of Srivatsa, of particular impression on the chest of Sri Krishna, and the costume jewel he was wearing. Kalevan saw him, however, in his Vishnu form, with a well-built body, 4 hands, and eyes like the petals of a newly blooming lotus. Krishna appeared blissful, with a handsome forehead and beautiful smiling face, restless eyebrows, and moving earrings. Before seeing Krishna, Kalevan had heard about him from Narada, and now the descriptions of Narada were confirmed. Kalevan noticed Krishna's specific marks and the jewels on his chest, his beautiful garlands of lotus flowers, his lotus-like eyes, and similar beautiful bodily features. He concluded that this beautiful personality must be Vasudeva, for every description he had previously heard from Narada was substantiated by the presence of Krishna. Kalevan was astonished to see Krishna passing through his army without any weapon in his hands and without any chariot. He was simply walking on foot. Kalevan had come to fight with him, and yet he had sufficient principles not to take up any kind of weapon. He decided to fight with him hand to hand. Thus he prepared to capture Krishna and fight. Krishna, however, went ahead without looking at Kalevan. Kalevan followed him with a desire to capture him, but in spite of his swift running, he could not capture Krishna. Krishna cannot be captured even by great yogis traveling at the speed of mind. He can be captured only by those who follow the path of devotional service, and Kalevan was not practiced in devotional service. He wanted to capture Krishna, and since he could not do so, he followed him from behind. Kalevan began running very fast, thinking, now I am nearer, I will capture him. But he could not. Krishna led him far, far away and entered in the cave of a hill. Kalevan thought that Krishna was trying to avoid fighting him and was therefore taking shelter of the cave. He rebuked him with the following words, O Krishna, I heard that you are a great hero born in a dynasty of Yadu, but I see that you are running away from fighting like a coward. It is not worthy of your good name and family tradition. Kalevan was following, running very fast, but still he could not catch Krishna because he was not free from all the contaminations of sinful life. According to Vedic culture, anyone who does not follow the regulative principles observed by the higher caste or even those observed by the laborer caste is called Malecha or Devan. The Vedic social situation is so planned that persons accepted as Shudra can gradually be elevated to the position of Brahmanas by the cultural development known as sanskaras or the purificatory process. The verdict of the Vedic scripture is that no one become a Brahmana or a Malecha simply by birth. By birth, everyone is accepted as Shudra. One has to elevate himself by the purificatory process to the stage of Brahminical life. If he doesn't, if he degrades himself further, he is then called. Kalevan belonged to the class of Malecha and Yavans. Contaminated by sinful activities, he could not approach Krishna. The principles from which higher class men are restricted, namely illicit sexual indulgence, meat eating, gambling and intoxication, are an integral part of the lives of the Malechas and Yavanas. Being bound by such sinful activities, one cannot make any advancement in God realization. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that only one who is completely freed from all sinful reactions can engage in devotional service or Krishna consciousness. When Krishna entered the cave of the hill, Kalevan followed, chastising him with various harsh words. Suddenly disappeared from the demon's sight, but Kalevan followed and also entered the cave. The first thing he saw was a man lying down asleep within the cave. Kalevan was eager to fight with Krishna, as when he could not see Krishna, but instead saw only a man lying down, he thought that Krishna was sleeping within the cave. Kalevan was very much puffed up and proud of his strength, and he thought Krishna was avoiding the fight. Therefore he strongly kicked the sleeping man, thinking of him to be Krishna. The sleeping man had been lying down for a very long time. When awakened by the kicking of Kalevan, he immediately opened his eyes and began to look around in all directions. At last he saw Kalevan standing nearby. The man had been ultimately awakened and was therefore very angry. And when he looked upon Kalevan in his angry mood, rays of fire emanated from his eyes and Kalevan burned to ashes within a moment. When Maharaj Parikshit heard this incident of Kalevan's being burned to ashes, he inquired about the sleeping man from Shukdev Goswami. Who was he? Why was he sleeping there? How he had achieved so much power that instantly by his glance Kalevan was burned to ashes? How did he happen to be lying down in the cave of the hill? He put many questions before Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev answered as follows. My dear king, this person was born in a very great family of King Ikshwaku, in which Lord Ramchandra was also born. And he happened to be the son of a great king known as Mandhata. He himself was also a great soul and was also known popularly as Mushkund. King Mushkund was a strict follower of the Vedic principles of Brahminical culture, and he was truthful to his promise. He was so powerful that even demigods like Indra used to ask him to help in fighting and demons, and such as he often fought against the demons to protect the demigods. The commander-in-chief of the demigods, known as Kartikeya, was satisfied with the fighting of King Muchkunda, but once he had asked that the king, having taken too much trouble in fighting the demons, retire from fighting and take rest. Kartikeya addressed the king Muchkunda, My dear king, you have sacrificed everything for the sake of the demigods. You had a very nice kingdom, undisturbed by any kind of enemy, but you have left that kingdom, neglected your opulence and possessions, and never cared for fulfillment of your personal ambitions. due to your long absence from your kingdom while fighting the demons on behalf of the demigods, your queen, your children, your relatives, and your ministers have all passed away in due course of time. Time and tide wait for no one. Now, even if you return to your home, you will find no one living there. The influence of time is very strong. Time is so powerful because it is representation of the Supreme Personality of God. Time is therefore stronger than the strongest. The influence of time can affect changes in subtle things without difficulty. No one can check the progress of time. As an animal tamer tames animals according to his will, time also adjusts things according to his own will. No one can supersede the arrangements made by Supreme Time. Thus, addressing Muchkunda, the demigod requested him to ask any benediction he might be pleased with, except the benediction of liberation. Liberation cannot be awarded by any living entity but the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, another name of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is Mukunda, who can award liberation. King Muchkunda had not slept for many years. He was engaged in the duty of fighting and therefore he was very tired. So when the demigod offered a benediction, Muchkund simply thought of sleeping. He replied as follows: My dear Kartikeya, best of the demigods, I want to sleep now, and I want from you the following benediction. Grant me the power to burn to ashes by my mere glance anyone who disturbs my sleeping and awaken me untimely. Please give me this benediction. The demigod agreed and also gave him the benediction that he would be able to take complete rest. Then King Muchkund entered the cave of the mountain. On the strength of the benediction of Kartikeya, Muchkund burnt Kalevan to ashes simply by glancing him. When the incident was over, Krishna came before King Muchkunda. Krishna had actually entered the cave to deliver King Muchkunda because of his austerity. But Krishna did not appear before him first. He arranged that first Kalevan should come before him. This is the way of the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does one thing in such a way that many other purposes are served. He wanted to deliver King Muchkunda, who was sleeping in the cave, and at the same time he wanted to kill Kalevan, who had attacked Mathura city. By this action he served all purposes. When Lord Krishna appeared before Muchkunda, the king saw him dressed in a yellow garment, his chest marked with the symbol of Shivatsa and the Kaustubh jewel hanging around his neck. Krishna appeared before him with four hands as Vishnumurti, with a garland called Vaijante hanging from his neck down to the knees. He looked lustrous, his face was beautifully smiling, and he wore nice jewel earrings on his ears. Krishna appeared more beautiful than a human can conceive. Not only did he appear in this feature, but he glanced over Muchkunda with a great affection, attracting the king's mind. Although he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the oldest of all, he looked like a fresh young boy, and his movements were just like those of the free deer. Still, he appeared extremely powerful. His influence and vast power are so great that every human being should be afraid of him. When King Muchkunda saw Krishna's magnificent features, he wondered about his identity, and with great humility he asked the Lord, My dear Lord, may I inquire how is that you happen to be in the cave of this mountain? Who are you? I can see that your feet are just like the soft lotus flowers. How could you walk in the forest, full of thorns and pebbles? I am simply surprised to see this. Are you not therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the most powerful among the powerful? Are you not the original source of illumination and fire? Can I consider you one of the great demigods like the sun god, the moon god, or the Indra, or the king of the heaven, or you are predominating deity of some other planet? Muchkunda knew well that every higher planetary system has a predominating deity. He was not ignorant like modern men who think that the planet Earth is full of living entities and all other are wicked. The inquiry from Muchkunda about Krishna being the predominating deity of a planet unknown to him is quite appropriate because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. King Muchkunda could immediately understand that Lord Krishna, who had appeared before him in such an opulent feature, could not be one of the predominating deities of the material planets. He must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who has many Vishnu forms. The Muchkunda therefore took him to be Purushottama, Lord Vishnu. He could see also that the dense darkness within the mountain cave had been dissipated by the Lord's presence.
आज फोन कर दो।